I know some folks are part-timers in Puerto Vallarta as we are currently. And there's nothing worse than not being there and all of a sudden you're seeing a hurricane off in the distance. Category 1, no big deal. Puerto Vallarta is awesome to handle hurricanes. Then all of a sudden after you get done with work, you look up and it's a category 4 hurricane and it's going literally directly through Puerto Vallarta where you have your home. And then you look at your webcam and it's barely hanging on. Anyway, this is a discussion of that experience that we had with Hurricane Lydia, Category 4 hurricane that went through, and discussion with Ada, myself, and our friend Audra. So this is Stefan,
This is Ada.
and who's
And
that?
I'm Audra
And Audra. From where?
from very hot Puerto Vallarta.
Talking about Jagged Wire Tours or something?
From Naked Jaguar Tour.
Yes, promotion. That's what we like to see.
Vallarta. Hey. Yeah.
So, as some of you may know, if you've been watching our Living Simply in Mexico Facebook group, we've been out of Puerto Vallarta for a while. In fact, up here in the States to celebrate my father's 83rd birthday. So we've been doing that. Meanwhile, there was a weather event, no?
Just a small one.
Yeah, it was weird. I was like working the other day and there was like this hurricane out in the middle of the Pacific, not knowing where to go. And it was like just a wimpy category 1. And then by the time dinner hit, I was like looking at it. It's like a freaking category 4, fourth largest Pacific hurricane to hit landfall. And it was like literally pointed at Puerto Vallarta. And so that kind of blew me away. And so we called you because you were there. Thank goodness.
I held back the hurricane all by myself.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it started, they were reporting it was a category 2 for a day or two, it seemed, or whatever, or the day before. And then it went up to a 3 and then it went up to a 4. So we were like, oh, goody. And yeah, it was interesting we went down to the waterfront just to see what it looked like, and you can see my video about it. Everyone was preparing and right where they were going to get hit, putting up sandbags and plywood and all this stuff. And then we went to get wine.
Nice.
Course.
That's what you do in Puerto Vallarta.
That was filling up with people in the street. A lot of the town was shut down, completely closed, or they were ordered to close at 2:00. So everyone was scrambling to get groceries. And like we went to the carne joint that's down by your house here to get some barbecue stuff.
We were almost going to donate our bacon that's in our freezer to you. The power didn't come on again. So we were trying to remember what was in our freezer when we left. So
yeah.
Almost inherited some meat, but if you run out, there's some.
And by the way, if folks watching this don't know, we're in fake backgrounds, clearly, because there's no echo usually in the outside in our lounge area where Ada is currently. And usually and usually the light is coming from the wrong direction to actually sit there.
And I'm at Ada and Stefan's house, their big house.
Yay.
On the river here. So
where you have internet.
Yes.
Yeah, my house, your other house the water was shut off and the electricity's down, and who knows how long that's going to be for. So they set up this thing when the water was shut off, and sometimes it's full of water and sometimes it's not. We've got this white live wire and then tons of tile. What do we do about this wire?
Since this was such a strong hurricane, I'm surprised. It looked like Puerto Vallarta fared pretty well. I think looking back in history, there was Hurricane Kenna, and that was basically all about the tidal surge and huge waves.
Yes. Yeah.
And looking behind Ada's shoulder there, really it's because of those mountains in the background that in the way the hurricane spins, usually a hurricane spins counterclockwise. So in order for it to get to our houses, it has to go through those mountains, and usually it breaks it up. This one was weird though, because it was like way out in the Pacific, and then it took a right turn
in a different direction,
and then boom, straight in.
Which is weird because since our houses are close together, but they're just in such different places in relationship to the hill basically. El Cerro that's there in downtown, that
Yeah.
there was really a completely different sort of set of I guess damage or things. Like we were pretty much untouched at the big house, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Galeana got, like, I talked to Tercero,
Uh-huh.
and he said, yes, it was very strong. And then you obviously saw the picture. I also have footage of that as well, but like that place got blammoed. I'm glad I actually didn't stay there. I think it would have freaked me out
You would have freaked
to
out.
hear all the
There were
tiles
we were
breaking.
watching our webcams from home while there was still power, and
Yeah.
we could see like across the way where people had like sunshades.
Oh, that's
And
too
so there was
bad.
no, and we don't, there was no way we had any way to get into, well, not that we were down there, but we even to tell somebody to get into their house, but
Yeah.
we could hear the shades, flapping and hitting.
Yeah.
We'd hear all these bangs, and then it was like we were down to one camera, so
Right.
all
Oh, yeah.
here was
Our
noise.
oldest
And
indoor camera that was outside was the only one that was working. And it was sitting there, and all of a sudden the lights went off, but the camera was still working. I don't get how that happened. But things were banging and clanging. But what I was impressed by was the camera, although there was like crazy stuff going on. There wasn't any tiles at that point falling down. All the wires were still up.
Yeah.
But then finally the camera died, and then we saw the pictures this morning, which of course all that happened, right?
Yeah. They blew off the cover over the hot tub, the pagoda or whatever you call it. But they're like on the roof, like, I couldn't access. So there's a bunch, like almost full size ones on, like all on the neighbor below.
Oh,
And
really?
then there's, yeah. So, and then I climbed up there and, yeah, they got rattled around a lot. So there's some holes and some of them were broken and stuff like that. So, and then, yeah, you saw the ones in the front, on the front area. There's a lot. And I don't know, that internet line is down, and it's kind of a big mess there right now.
It's
But
a big
you'll be
mess.
glad to know the kittens and the mom are still alive.
Oh, very good.
The stray cats out front.
How'd your doggies do? How'd your doggies do?
They were good. I was at my friend's place, so
Yeah.
like we were all hunkered down. But his place is near here, but it's pretty freaking open.
Oh.
So like we could feel when that hurricane came, when it finally started blowing, because it rained a whole bunch, then it stopped completely. And then all of a sudden it was like, you could feel the wind, and it just like monsooning. And yeah, we lost power. So we had candles and stuff. And luckily we had a really early dinner, because we would have been screwed otherwise,
with power. What time was what was I mean, we were watching it about, I think it was probably about 8 o'clock your guys' time.
Yeah.
What was the time where it was kind of the peak, like scary for you? Or can you
around then? Yeah.
Around
but then
when
it was just
everything
consistent. It was consistent, like wind. Maybe it got increased a little bit, like half an hour later or something like that. But overall, it was just like very heavy rain, and it was windy, but it wasn't like a tornado or anything.
Well, I think that was probably about the same time when we were still watching posts. This is when other people still had some internet access and power, because the feeds we were getting were like, transformers are blowing up, like that was actually, and so I think that was probably what was probably part of the scary part, is hearing things blowing up and not knowing maybe what they were, and then things going dark and not knowing what's going on.
There wasn't a lot where I was, but it sounds like Galeana, if I was there, I would have been totally spooked. If I was there alone, which I would, like I am up there alone, they'd be like, like, I wouldn't know what to do, because obviously running outside would have been a really stupid idea.
That would not have been
that
good.
point.
Well, yeah, I think happened. We were talking about how the hurricane spin and how Puerto Vallarta is actually a really safe hurricane hole. And again, this is a Category 4 storm. And yes, there was some broken glass, broken tile, but for the most part, it's still there. It's not like it's wiped off the map. And what I think what happened is, since hurricanes spin counterclockwise, and this one came from the south, the only time it really got bad is when the hurricane went past and you're catching the wind that was heading from north to south.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
all the video I saw on the Melicon was like this north to south wind that was like 80 miles per hour, 100 miles per hour, that was just blowing that direction. And actually, for us, I was actually figuring out it's okay. Okay, yes, the one house, the Castel Arroyo, that one's against the that one's against the hill, so we're good there. And our other one, is a side of a little taller house, so we're kind of okay there. So
Yeah.
luckily that was the case. But I think a lot of people that were like had that north facing window or something, those are the ones that caught it the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, so we did a walk this morning down to the beach to retrace what I did the day before or whatever. And there's some massive trees down,
Yeah.
like huge, and lines, like there's a power line, the whole tower came down, all the lines, and it pulled any really old mango tree. Yeah, there's just, and like whole palm trees on the Malecon, like in front of Burrow Bar,
Uh-huh.
roughly. Whole palm trees are just like because
Oh.
their roots are really tight. Like there's not a lot of actual
Is
rootage.
that, well, down by that area, that's down, you're talking over down by the where the tile park is, correct?
Yes,
Oh, it
yes.
blew
Yeah,
off that
because, and that
tile,
was,
by the way.
what's
That
that?
that that tile that you like so much, it completely took it off the wall. It
Yeah,
must not
so
have
they
been.
must have really had a really strong gust in that area, because I think
Yeah,
there was, and that's where a lot of the fallen trees were actually in
Yeah.
romantic zone.
yeah. And then when you go up over from Los Muertos, the end of Los Muertos, that pathway over to Conchas Chinas, there's
Oh.
like huge trees knocked down in there, and then even more palm trees are knocked down. So they got smashed. Actually, there's a couple condos that we could see. The glass was actually, the new one by the beach at Conchas Chinas, this nice
Yeah.
swimming spot.
Yeah.
There's a new white condo, sort of newish. There are like massive broken glass. What's it called? Orchid condo called
Orchidea or
Orchid.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
the glass of like a giant sliding glass door or something, or a big window was like smashed.
Oh
So
man.
yeah, you can
How are
see.
the places, how are those places along the river that suffered so much in Hurricane Nora? So, they'd shored up that side. I know the river overflowed, and there was some damage on the Isla, but
Right. Are you talking about the
not
new
like Nora,
condo
but
kind of one?
Like where the new condos are, and
mhm,
I
the
haven't seen
Oasis.
that spot yet. I didn't go
Okay.
that way. I'm like when I crossed over the staircase bridge down to La Isla, and there's like a giant iguana tree on the other side that's gone. So there's a
Oh.
big. The view is better now if you want to look through, and then it looks like, I'm guessing that tree was way up at the ocean when we went up to the ocean, so it got washed up. And I didn't actually see that side of the river, but I mean, Mary contacted me. Everyone was keeping in touch. Like
Yeah.
we were all checking in on each other before. And she said it was just like so loud, the river last night.
Oh.
Like just rocks were like like it's just a big loud, because she's right there. So, but I haven't actually, we went more towards the ocean, so I haven't seen
Yeah.
the damage.
From what I can tell is the Isa Quali did get flooded, which it normally
Yeah,
does in a
it's-
hurricane. But this time around, it sounds like it was more of a flash flood where it came and it went, and that yes, there's sediment, but not as much as say Nora, where there was like feet of mud that they had to clear out.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
it's chocolatey brown.
Yeah.
And it's very wide. And when you look out at the ocean, I'm sure you saw that. It's just like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's been like that a lot lately because of all the rains, but it was even bigger today. But
Yeah,
yeah, but I went down to the beach and people were still like, but most of the businesses are still closed.
yeah.
A couple places were open.
Well, I think there's some major road issues kind of coming from Ismaloya and Boca de Tomatlan too. So I think the 200 they're blocked off. I'm not sure if they were able to clear things for the people to be able to get in and out of there, get supplies down there.
I don't know that much because my phone like ran out, so it's been weird because I haven't had electricity, and yeah, it's like being in the twilight zone right now.
Oh, man.
It's like,
Well, yeah, you know what's crazy is I know in Puerto Vallarta when there is flooding and things are bad, it's amazing how quickly people help each other out and they clean up. And unlike here in the U.S. or Canada, where there's flooding usually have a lot of drywall, and the drywall you have to pretty much rip out the house. It's almost like the houses in Mexico with the tile and concrete are designed for floods, where a flood gets on concrete, you just power wash it down and go on. It sounds like that's what happens a lot,
Well,
which is
and
good.
something to think about, and this is something that we have done, is when the wind blows, and once again, with any little tropical storm we would get, the winds are always varying which direction they're coming. It's not always consistent. And we will end up getting leaks sometimes through different windows that, we'll go 2 years not having a leak, and then all of a sudden that's leaking. And it's just because of the direction of the wind. There's one of our rooms that a couple storms ago, or a few storms ago, the water was pouring through, but I guess Audra checked the rooms there at the big house, and I don't think any of them had much water, except for maybe coming underneath the floor. So if you have rugs,
Yes.
that you maybe put down, roll those up before you leave for the season.
Yeah,
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 that's a good idea.
And put them
that's a
away
great
from the
idea.
door.
Yeah. No, there is a tiny bit of water in the loft of
Mhm.
your place.
Mhm.
It must have gone through the window, like, because it's right there. It would have been smashed. And then there was, the tiniest. I already told you that underneath your bedroom door at our place, but otherwise, yeah,
Yeah, it's
it's pretty
standard
good.
fare. And thank you
there's no carpet.
also. Thank you for taking that glass tabletop that Ada has on her picture right there and putting that
Yeah.
away.
That
It's on the
tabletop
bed.
right there, we wouldn't have wanted that to go flying.
It's sleeping on the bed right now.
Very cool. So
That would've been a
Audra,
problem.
so you've taken a lot of video. Are you going to get a video out here shortly on all the crazy?
I am. I just needed my laptop wasn't here, so now
Yeah.
I have access to it. But I have to go and do some editing and get things going. Because I took a lot of footage of my walk this morning, and it's kind of interesting. The military was there, and all sorts of stuff's going on. So, but yeah, everyone's just cleaning up now.
I think one of the scary things, in terms of when you're going out, I mean, just from a safety standpoint, when people were going out early this morning, it's like you still had electric lines that were down and water around, and you didn't know what was live, what wasn't.
Yeah.
So I think that's just the reminder when there's like really large storms and hurricanes like this, is kind of waiting a little bit so that some of those those hazards, you go walking around in low light, you don't know what you're gonna step on.
No, there are wires all over the place. Like, people have put like a styrofoam cup on it because there was a wire crossing like a main. And there's like the tourists are coming back, so there's tons. I mean, there's also tons of Mexican families that are maybe also tourists. But yeah, I gotta admit, I almost bumped into some wires today because I was freaking shooting footage, and I'm like, anyway. So yeah, you have to be very careful, and yeah.
Well, crazy. Well, we hope you get your power back. We hope we get your water back.
Thank
and
you.
all that sort of stuff. And that's down in the El Cerro area. Up
Yeah.
in Gringo Gulch, it sounds like we're back to normal. It's strange. It seemed like the power got cut off super early in Gringo Gulch. I wonder if they did that as a precaution.
I think they did.
Yeah.
But actually, my friend lives like just behind Sally's place. We still don't have electricity there.
Oh,
so
really?
We're on a different grid, I guess, because
oh my gosh,
they're like, what? And then Mary said on that side she still doesn't have electricity.
Oh wow, we're lucky.
So you guys got lucky.
Oh
well,
my
if
gosh.
you need bacon, if you need a place to store your bacon,
yes,
feel free.
Just going down now.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I will definitely keep you in the loop and see what happens next.
All right, cool. And are you going to be around for Dia de los Muertos?
Hell yeah.
All right, cool. Well, we will
see you soon.
We should be down there for that. It's well, and actually technically it's next month, but I look forward to getting down this month and prepping and getting the face painted and
get
all that other
faces
good stuff.
done again. Yeah,
absolutely.
Cool. All right.
So anyway, so if anybody stuck out this long in our conversation, subscribe to our channel, Living Simply in Mexico, and Audra's channel, Naked Jaguar Tours. Now is it now Naked Jaguar Tours Puerto Vallarta? I know
Puerto Vallarta. Yes. Yes.
So check that out. Check our Facebook page too. We'll put stuff there. And yeah, we'll give you more upcoming here on our next episode. So thank you all for joining us.
Yeah, and one more shout out to a lot of the other Puerto Vallarta Facebook groups.
Oh my gosh.
Puerto Vallarta, everything you want to know. Because there's always places that you can find some of that up-to-date information, or at least, kind of leading up to it. So if you're really into Puerto Vallarta, make sure that you're part of those, so that you do get, some of the more, announcements that are big like that as well.
Yeah, and also to the Isla Quale group, or was it the Vallarta Garden Club? Obviously, they need a lot of volunteers right now because there's a lot of cleaning up to do. So I know the one website was islaquale.org that you can go to, and then do a search on the Vallarta Garden Club. I don't know their exact website, but you can check there as well. So anyway, I think that's it for now. Thanks, Audra, for all of your help.
Peace.
All right.
Nice seeing your faces again. My
Take
pleasure.
care, and hopefully that phone gets charged up, and yeah, you use as much electricity as you need.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.